We're going to be talking today with our band member Ron Blunchley, guitar player in the group and singer. So Ron, if you would just describe to us, how you came to or helped develop the band and what you like about playing the guitar in the band, I guess.
Okay. Well, I'm basically the main founder. I started it with our neighbor, Nicole. I heard her singing one time, and most of my life, since the age of 12, I've played guitar solo by myself, just for my own entertainment. I heard her sing and wanted to play with her, and we had this idea maybe we could play and call it Two Roots, Two Cultural Traditions. We got a drummer, and she plays drum and sings, and we were supposed to play the Haitian traditional music. Well, that didn't last very long. Then a couple years later, there was a concern about income for the two families, and so they're thinking about what other enterprises can they do. Mm-hmm. And there was one point where we opened up a restaurant. While that restaurant was going, Mona heard about me and my guitar and came up to the restaurant to play some songs. And so he started playing some songs. I played guitar with him, and I thought, well, these are nice songs. I can play with this. I can develop this. This will be fun. And so we started playing together, and then Carla came in with her violin. Nicole came in to sing, and so we said, why don't we just call it the new Des Racines? So that's how the new Two Roots got started. Along the way, we lost Nicole as a singer, and we had another guitar player who came down with schizophrenia, and he's out, which is very unfortunate. But that left an opening for Naji to come in, so now we have Naji with us. Mm-hmm. So wherever there's something bad happens, something good happens. Mm-hmm. To kind of make it right, balancing it out. So that's how we got to where we are today. We've been practicing this music for a long time. For a long time, I really didn't have any ambition or thought of us being a professional group playing before people. I just thought we were having fun together. And for a while, I didn't think there was any possibility of us moving forward. Actually, since we have the new composition of the group, with Naji in it playing bass, Nicole not singing, and the sound is better. And I was surprised when we went on tour a couple of years ago how much people like the music. Really. I mean, I like it, but I haven't ever thought like this is star material stuff. It's just fun, fun music to play. We get into it. I like it when we connect and get into a groove. I also like to play other music other than Mona's music. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But he's got some good songs. I like playing them, and we have a good time together.
Is there a particular song that you identify with? Or?
Well, certainly there are songs that I like better than others. Mm-hmm. The song I like best to play is called Folk Haiti Rive, which means Haiti must arrive. And I like the lyrics. The message is one of hope for Haiti's future and the need for unity and working together. And musically I like it. And I have a place in it where I have an opportunity to do a lead, which I enjoy when I don't screw it up. So I like that one in terms of feeling. There's another one I like play. It's fun. It's Chantal. Well, I guess I can relate to the sentiment there. The sentiment is, do what you want, Chantal. I don't care. And I felt it.
Suis pas normal, suis pas l'homme idéal. Ton aventure avec moi n'est qu'une torture notoire. Elle n'est pas géniale comme au temps colonial. Pour délibérer, faut qu'on soit séparés. Fais ce que tu veux, Chantal, je m'en fous pas mal. Fais ce que tu veux, Chantal, je m'en fous pas mal. Eh ya, eh ya, eh ya, eh ya, eh ya, eh ya. Ta sœur se lève pour prendre la relève. Ne dis pas c'est difficile, pour elle c'est facile. Elle est prête à faire des excès pour avoir du succès. Et moi je n'ai pas le choix, parce que tu m'as laissé choix. Fais ce que tu veux, Chantal, je m'en fous pas mal. Fais ce que tu veux, Chantal, je m'en fous pas mal. Eh ya, eh ya, eh ya, eh ya, eh ya, eh ya. Je m'en fous pas mal, fais ce que tu veux, Chantal. Je m'en fous pas mal, fais ce que tu veux, Chantal. Je m'en fous pas mal, fais ce que tu veux, Chantal. Je m'en fous pas mal, fais ce que tu veux, Chantal. Je m'en fous pas mal, fais ce que tu veux, Chantal. Je m'en fous pas mal, fais ce que tu veux, Chantal. Je m'en fous pas mal, fais ce que tu veux, Chantal. Je m'en fous pas mal, fais ce que tu veux, Chantal.
Yeah, I like that song. It's fun. There, you know, I can't say that there's really a favorite among them.
You also say you like to play other music.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I like to play a range of music. It's basically the style I learned as a youngster in my teens was finger style, and my heroes were Doc Watson, Neil Cotton, especially his songs. And I used to play other people's songs. I would just sit and listen to them. I started out, my sister played the guitar, my brother plays the guitar. So they taught me a couple of songs, and I heard the folk songs of the 60s, and that's when the fingerstyle was getting popular in folk music. And I just wanted to learn how to do that myself. So I just listened to music. Once I learned the basic finger picking style, I just listened to songs that I liked until I picked out all the notes and then memorized it and I could play them. So for years, that's basically what I did. From time to time, I get kind of bored playing the same old songs. So I put the guitar away and play it for a long time. But in the last several years, especially the last few years, it's just become for me, it's like improvisation, praying when I
Mhm.
play music by myself.
I've heard you sit and simply pick out very pleasant
Right.
melodies. And you have like kind of like a little sub band or something going on.
Right, myself and Naji and Welile also have a band that we call Dreadman Band, for an obvious reason, I guess.
You have to have dreads in order to be in it.
Yeah, so it's just us three right now.
Yeah.
We could get more, but we really don't want to.
But is that pretty much improvisational?
It's a different style of music.
Mm-hmm.
That one we're interpreting some Haitian songs, we're interpreting some American songs. For instance, in Dreadman Band, some of the old Leo Kottke songs that I know, I play and just add Wele's drums and Naji's bass.
Mm-hmm.
So it just adds a different color to it.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are Haitian Vodou songs that I learned to play, and so it goes both ways. But it's sort of, it's like part of De Racine too.
But in essence, your advocacy is what brought you and Carla here.
Yeah, the connection is more indirect
Mm-hmm.
in that fashion. We wouldn't have been here, and we wouldn't have stayed here had it not been for that. The guitar playing was just a part of who I am when I came. Actually becoming something where I'm playing with other people I hadn't anticipated. It wasn't a part of the plan. It was not part of a mission. But I like it. I like playing with other people. I've played just solo guitar in my life, and playing with a band is an adjustment.
Mm-hmm.
Because initially I was just wanting to play all the notes myself while the singer was singing those notes, and trying to learn how to do harmonies and counterpoint and blend and just put a background in, and accompany rather than doing the whole orchestra. So that's been a shift. I can't talk about what brought us here without talking about what our faith conviction was, because that's really what geared us in this direction. Carla and I were both evangelical Christians, and we were pretty social justice oriented, fairly conservative theologically. But anyway, I felt, and so did Carla, that our lives should be directed towards a life of service to basically people who needed it more, the poor. And we met when I was in the Navy. I went to college in order to learn agronomy so that I could work overseas. So it wasn't something that came to me late in my college career. That's why I went to college, because I really didn't have a desire to go to college until I had a reason to do so. So I knew I wanted to take agriculture. And while in college, we had contact with several foreign students. We were a host family for foreign student couples, and we learned more about different places, and I got more interested in Africa and the agricultural problems there. So in my last year of college, I took an international development course that talked a lot about what's going on in the development world, different approaches and such. And I was already kind of sold on it, but that made me even more convinced of the direction I wanted to go. And I asked the professor if he knew of any international development organizations that had good reputations for good work, but were also faith-based. And he could only think of two. And Mennonite Central Committee was one of them. And Friends were the other, American Friends. They're smaller, and Mennonites were Christian enough for me. So I applied with them, and they accepted. They sent some job descriptions my way, and there were a few in Africa, but they weren't very appealing. It wasn't really the kind of work I wanted to do. A Haiti position was open for the Artibonite project, which is an agroforestry project, and that looked interesting to me, so I accepted. And I also accepted because I had visited Haiti before, when I was in the Navy. Right after Carl and I were married, I was in the Navy. Our ship visited Haiti, and I was quite impressed, really. I had some good experiences here in 3 days, but kind of important experiences in terms of my view of race and such, but in a positive sense of making me more aware of racism and how much I had absorbed. So we said yes, and that was one of those big decisions that has changed our life direction. Because once we got here, we never left.
Yeah.
I thought Haiti is enough like Africa. Well, sure, we can accept Haiti, and we'll move on to Africa after 3 years.
Yeah.
That was my thinking. But little did I know that a revolution was brewing, and a year after we got here, and we got caught up in that revolutionary spirit, because we were working with people that were the victims of oppression, and it was why they were victims that really grabbed a hold of it. This isn't what I thought should make a person a victim of intervention by the United States and against them. Because we were working with groups, peasant organizations that were forming together to help themselves collectively, work together, cooperatively. And I thought, this is kind of kingdom of God stuff, right? This is great. And that's what was being persecuted. And that's when my political eyes started getting opened. And it's gone on from there. But anyway, we felt quite impassioned about the injustice of the situation and couldn't leave it. So we extended, did another term. We spent 9 years with MCC instead of just the 3. And then stayed in Haiti after we decided to not continue with MCC, to just be independent, because Carla had already found an occupation, cultural orientation work, and that was looking like it would really take off. So we saw that we could live in Haiti independent of an organization, and we wanted to do that because we were still very much involved in all that was going on. So that's why we ended up staying in Haiti. We've been independent of organizational support for 94 and making it on our own. And always our intention is to just live here and be the way that we would like to see society be. Be one part of it.
Where we are is the Ecumenical Foundation for Peace and Justice, which started in 1992, I believe, during the 3 years of the coup d'etat, when they took out Aristide. The military was committing atrocious human rights abuse all over the country, and I was still in MCC at the time. MCC had contact with a number of religious leaders, church leaders, and so I thought, the churches need to respond. They just can't sit in silence. They need to do something. And so I called the leaders whose names are over the doors here, founding members, who represent Catholic, Episcopal, Protestant churches, and called them all together to talk about what we could do to respond to them. And the first thing that was suggested was that the organization be founded. So it had to be official in order to get any sort of attention paid to it. So they went and made the Ecumenical Foundation for Justice and Peace. And in '93, of course, the situation changed. Augustine came back, the military fell, the situation of injustice with the military ended, but social injustice continues and probably will until everything falls apart. So there's lots for them to do. But as things evolved, I hooked them up with MCC to be an MCC partner, and that's where they got their original funding to start working with children, because there is a lot of structural injustice affecting children, child slavery, servitude, lack of school. If you're poor, you can't afford it. So they set up this school. They have classes for elementary students. They have added technical training to that. When I come here and I look, you know, the rooms, there's rooms with our names on them and the names of all the founding members, not all of whom are still with us, but it's interesting and to me to see years later something that I participated in founding, how it evolved and became something different, but something that I'm still happy to see. So that's where we are, and Polycarp is the leader of this place. He was one of the original founders. He's a good guy, and I was very happy that I was able to hook him up with MCC and the foundation to be able to pursue his own vision, his own dream of how to help the country.
We gathered with Ron and Carla and Kantav under a shade tree at the PDL office in Port-au-Prince. PDL is Haiti's in-country member organization to Groundswell International. Carla recalls Two Roots' first appearance with World Neighbors, and Kantav shares his history with Ron and Carla.
Racine played for the 10th anniversary of the organization he was in before, which was World Neighbors. And people from the different community organizations came in and gave testimony and talked and did skits, and so De Racine played. That was one of our first big public appearances was for World Neighbors. Remember? Yeah.
We can play the role of promoters of social change in the community, but we cannot play the role of actors, because if we play the role of actors, and then we are replacing the local leaders. We like the local leaders to develop their capacity and through the local structures to manage the local development. And then after those 14 years with World Neighbors, there was a crash in this organization in 2008, 2009. I was hesitating about what I should do. I have been encouraged by even the community leaders I have been working with for many years.
the inspiration, it comes, it's a revolving thing where you get inspired by the people who are so enthusiastic.
Yeah.
So enthusiastic. There was one woman who said, when she got a microloan, she said, I feel like 10,000 women. So to say, dis me a femme.
They asked me, like, why not initiating a new organization, and then we could have a partner to whom we can refer whenever there are new challenges we cannot overcome. Many of my former colleagues with World Neighbors from Africa, from Latin America, and even from the States, we have been thinking and talking about how we could stay connected. By August 2009, about 10 of us, we met someplace in Massachusetts. We started a new organization, Groundswell International. And at the same time, I have been also looking for funding to initiate this program in Haiti. And in October 2009, Partnership for Local Development was born. We started in 3 communities, in 3 programs, and now we are directly working with 15 communal sections involving over 10,000 people, working at the grassroots level to promote sustainable agriculture, to produce food, to feed ourselves, to feed our family. We are developing community health program, sanitation, to improve the standard of living of the families. But also we are promoting microfinance program, inviting people to save and to use the money to improve the standard of living. There is a woman, she is from Valier. We are working in the community of Mobenkochu. And these women, she heard about a kind of training an organization is doing, and she came. She attended training, and she was part of one of the basic groups. Really exceptional when these women express her pride. The way she was before and the way she is now.
Where people are starting from, if they're able to contribute to their own advancement, the pride that gives, the dignity, is more important than the material gain. And it's the foundation for future material gain for the community. Because without that, you're just going to get dependency and waiting for somebody to come save me. But when you have that spirit developing, you can't have dignity for work programs. You can't give that out. You can approach a community in a way that develops that, but it's not something that you can administer and give to people with money or with material. And that's, so now everybody in this area is, competing to get PBL to come to them.
No, because what to tell them?
You don't have the human resources, that's
No,
the
no,
problem.
no.
You don't have the
It's
trainers.
financial resource.
It's very difficult to find dedicated.
Yes.
You can find people who have the training, but to find people who are dedicated and willing to accept the salary, he pays a good salary, but it may be just a little bit less than a big organization.
Yeah, even if it's better, even if you pay a better salary than the other organizations, still who you choose and how dedicated they are is key.
One time you answered a question, I just loved the way you did it. It was inspired. Someone asked you, so what keeps you going? And I know it's all the stories. We went out and we're supposed to get success stories for Groundswell to put on their website. And we went out with one of his new employees to look for success stories. So we went out to a new community, remember, and everybody was a success. And Philippe said, no. You have to go out and find your failures because there aren't any. He worked for a big organization, World Vision, I think.
Yes.
And he said he had been assigned to go out and find success stories. He said they couldn't find any.
For World Vision.
For World Vision, because there was no durability, no sustainability to any of their programs. He was flabbergasted. He said, no. This is way too much. You've got success stories, you have no failures.
Time is running really fast. We will be celebrating our 5th anniversary next October.